Why won't you people let us have nice things? Two former study group members walk past each other on a college campus. They don't know if they should speak and wind up ignoring each other. Why is this behavior increasingly normal? I'm putting a rabbit in your hat if you ignore me. Shout out to Fatal Attraction. I mean, I'm putting a rabbit in your pot if you ignore me. Shout out to Fatal Attraction. Then we will close things with the Robinson Report.
Welcome to my Mike Sounds Nice, a freestyle conversation about health, relationships, and culture. Once again, I'm one of your hosts, Tim. Always glad to be in the building.
My mic sounds nice. This is Kev, aka Reggie Jacks, checking in from the Bronx. Thanks for tuning in today.
My mic sounds nice. Kev has turned, it's an A from Long Island, but Kev has turned GQ into JQ because Jay-Z is that big.
Oh, I said JQ?
Yeah, when you can change your magazine, that's right.
Yeah.
So, Gentleman's Quarterly is now
Jay's Quarterly.
Jay's Quarterly. My bad.
Questions.
Jigga questions.
my bad. The anger got the best of me.
That's funny.
So let's get into it. Let's dive in.
All right. So this year is the 30th anniversary of Jay-Z's debut album, Reasonable Doubts. He's performing at the Roots Picnic in Philly that they announced a couple of weeks ago. He's doing 3 dates at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Big celebration. He's been doing a media junket right now. So he did GQ. They did an interview. They filmed the interview. And a lot of people had a lot to say about some of the comments out there. You all get a chance to check out the interview?
Yes. It's also the 25th anniversary of the Blueprint as well.
Yes. 30th and 25th.
So it's 30-25.
Which is why initially the first 2 shows for Yankee Stadium was Reasonable Doubt Night 1, Blueprint Night 2.
So that's where.
But you said they added a 3rd day, Kev?
Yeah.
Sunday, July 12th is extra innings.
Yeah. I know they were going to even think that, or they're thinking about, or they are talking about adding shows at Barclay also. So we'll see if, what materializes.
Got to work it out with the Liberty.
Yeah, that is true.
or the Liberty got to work it out with Jay. So, but yeah, but we did check out the interview.
Any thoughts? Any takeaways? I will say initially when I first saw the first snippet I saw that morning, I sent it out to you all where he was talking about battle rapping, and he was concerned about the Kendrick and Drake, how they were going at each other. And he's like, yo, like you going after people's family, you going after their kids, you going after somebody's marriage. And he's wondering whether battle rap was still viable in 2026.
So we're gonna start there?
Sure. We'll start there. We'll keep it hip hop initially.
Well, it's also, I think it's important that to make the distinction, because especially now in 2026, like battle rap is a thing where they got leagues, and he was not talking about that.
No.
He was talking about the battle discourse taking place commercially writ large, where you're not operating with honestly ethics amongst competitors. So just for anybody listening, he was not speaking about battle rap like on Smack and other things like that. He was speaking about what takes place more broadly commercially.
Yeah, I think that he made some really good points, and I think what he said has validity only in certain circumstances. And I think he's right that we live in a social media world that makes things amplified in a way that the Drake and Kendrick battle was just not a hip hop battle. It was an international event. People always talk about stands online, but we need to look at all of the podcasts, all of the content creators that make money on all of these platforms that covered the battle and covered the battle extensively. because it was financially profitable. So that type of battle is not just a battle anymore. However, I will say to Jay that most people are not Drake and Kendrick. And I would also say that even though we don't realize it, and to a lesser extent, the same outcomes did occur. Ja Rule was hurt permanently to the point where after 50 Cent beat him in a not even really a rap battle, but just a credibility battle, he couldn't put out music anymore because people felt differently about him forever. And to this day still feel differently about Ja Rule. So that was still capable even in Jay's time. And we know that his regret of bringing in Carmen in his battle with Nas. So family has been brought into it in the past. But I do think that he does show wisdom in what he's saying, in that if we're going to go that far, and if that's going to be what battling is in the future, then I think he's right. I just think that most battles will be much smaller and less consequential. So I think he's wrong overall.
When I think about it, I love battle rap. I love people going at each other. I love a good, hard, just go with your neck, and then move on. I look at the Cannabis and LL. They went at each other's neck and then moved on. I think the problem is oftentimes in a lot of these situations is us, the fans. Like, we need to take a look in the mirror. It's not that they were going to each other. It's how the fans respond, how the fans egg things on, how the fans get this stand culture in you. And it's no longer about the love of music, the love of the art form. It's about the love of an artist. And to me, I love the art form more than any one artist. It's like me in football. I love Giants are my team, but I love the game of football more than any one thing. And I just want it to be good, whoever's playing.
I think a couple of things. One, we were listening to a 56-year-old man who I'm glad doesn't still hold on to the same views as a 26-year-old or a 36-year-old. In some instances, we celebrate hip hop's growth, but then we throw shots when people speak from their current life position. We could go back and listen. We were joking, but not joking before we got on the air, and we were talking about the song Gangsta's Paradise. We would hear that and see that totally different now at this stage of our lives than when it came out. And not speaking favorably or unfavorably, just giving that an example because we were talking. I think the problem comes into play where what you said, Kev, I feel like what's being festered now is a genuine dislike, borderline hatred for the individual. You talked about football. We were freshmen. We played football hard. We competed hard. But when we left the field, we all went to 7-Eleven laughing and joking. We all lived in the same dorm for the most part. There wasn't this visceral hatred that then communities, like there were people, like if you was Team Kendrick, you were supposed to hate Drake and vice versa. And the last thing I'll say to even further emphasize the point you was bringing up, like everybody's not Drake and Kendrick, because everybody else in hip hop, there's been beefs that did not make CNN and MSNBC. So it wasn't even just the air quote hip hop journal podcast community that was fanning this flame. You literally had people who was just reading the teleprompter and probably didn't know anything that they was reading, but they just was waiting for, like, oh, there's a new disc record and things like that. So that level, I think, is wrong to use that to kind of cascade a point of view all the way across.
Yeah, I will say this. Because of that battle, though, if you really ever do have two heavyweights that are going to battle again in hip hop, they are going to be loaded up with a bunch of records. They are not going to be out recorded. So you're not going to get 2 songs and
Yes,
you won.
the rules of engagement have changed.
Yes.
If you're that level, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, you got to come with your nuclear weapon. You can't. Conventional weapons no longer work here.
Yeah, boots on the ground don't work.
And so if you come with nuclear weapons, then
yeah,
that's not good.
But so then here's the thing. Like, so is the what's the, if you had to make the pie chart, lyrical ability and research knowledge, what's the pie chart? You know what I mean? Because one time it's like, yo, he went at his neck, just coming up with hyperbole, saying almost like the dozens. Kendrick and Drake, like, you had crack researchers, like they was battling too. So you know what I'm saying? Hey, like,
I think
they went to Henry Louis Gates and was like, "Yo, give me the
like they basically did like when you got to PBS certify your bars." Like,
I mean, yeah. To be honest with you, though, even I agree with you 100%, Tim. They did that, but I think where they even changed the battle even more significantly, and what won Kendrick the battle, is he made a bop. The last record is a regular play on the radio bop. I can dig this joint. I'm not even coming at you.
You talking about They Not Like Us?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure because
yeah.
He came out with like 6 in one day or something.
Yeah. Not Like Us is a hit song.
Yeah. You're right. Euphoria went for his neck.
Yeah, and that's not what we.
Nobody really thinks about Euphoria, 616 in LA.
Yeah.
But I mean, so I'm gonna jump on to a next topic about Jay-Z, which also brought a lot. There was a conversation around being a billionaire.
A Billy.
I think there was a question was, is a commonplace public perception that billionaires are bad? And he asked Jay-Z, what is the tension around that? And Jay responded.
None.
and Jay responded, I forgot. What did he say?
None.
You're right.
I gave you the J quote.
You're right. None. And your thoughts around that?
You want to go first, Tim, or you want me to go?
I mean, here's the thing. I believed him when he said none, because he's the billionaire. Yeah. In all seriousness, the tension there, he said none. And when I'm saying I believe him, I believe he was speaking from his feeling and how he honestly feels. I think the interviewer was kind of posing a question that was more macro, but I feel like Jay addressed it micro. And I felt like the interview was trying to go, if you think about the society that we live in, because part of what he was saying was like, should there even be billionaires?
Yeah.
And he didn't finish the thought. It's like, should you really have billionaires in a society where you have intense poverty and hunger and things like that? Because to me, that's where the tension comes into play. So I do believe that we do live in a society of greed, and even though it's open market, I think that there is a tension if you're a billionaire and you could drive past people who have nothing. I think about what Tupac shared, and he was just talking about millionaires because he was in the 90s. So
yeah, I think Jay-Z answered that earlier in the interview when he said, I'm a realist. and I take the world for what it is, not for what I want it to be. And in doing that, I think a lot of people who, in particular, a billionaire like Jay-Z, and I don't think all billionaires are created equal. And he went on and said that,
Facts,
like, yo,
facts.
it's who you are inside, and what type of person are you? What type of values do you have? Where he said, for example, and I know it's off topic, but when they're talking about the accusations, and he was like, I told my wife, I can't do this. I can't settle with this person. It would be easy to settle. My business partners want to run away. This is going to hurt our family. But I can't do this as a man because I didn't do that. And that speaks to who he is as a human being. And I think that there are plenty of billionaires who will make a calculated, hey, this is expedient. I'm going to pay this off. I'm going to move on, and I'm going to go. And I think that the conversation that we have about you being a billionaire is always a conversation where, because I value walking in someone else's shoes before you pass judgment. And poor people never have ever experienced walking in a billionaire's shoes. And those people always say, oh, I'd be giving this money away. I'd be doing this. I'd be doing that. I'd hook my friends up. I hook my family. Not realizing that you don't think billionaires have tried that before and that doesn't work. That you give them $1 million and you know what happens? They come back and ask you back for more money. Like you think these things haven't been thought of? Like, and so for me, I was glad that he said none. And I think that the question about should people in this world have so much when other people have so little is a different conversation. And it's not a Jay-Z conversation, and it's not a Jay-Z responsibility. That is a societal responsibility. That is a societal conversation.
Agreed.
And it's unfair to bring it to him and then be like, I don't like his answer. Because to be honest with you, no matter what he said, he was going to get, he was set up for the okie doke. If he said, it pains me, I remember what it was like to live in Marcy, and no, people shouldn't have this much money, but blah, 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 blah. People would have been like, oh, you're a billionaire now. It doesn't count. If he was the most empathetic person and said all the right things, he was going to get pushback. So the truth of the matter, this was a damned if he did, damned if he didn't conversation. And I think it's also intellectually, me personally, I feel like it's intellectually lazy and easy to jump on him. He's an easy target, personally.
All power. Reggie Jacks.
All power to the people. All right. You would not be surprised. The audience would not be surprised to believe and understand that I'm not necessarily down with billionaires existing in that way. I'm not necessarily saying that there shouldn't be billionaires. I don't know where the line is, but I know the conditions that currently exist, which create income inequality, which allow us to have people that make these billions of dollars and have people that are poor, and understand that there are policies and things in place that allow this to happen. That is the problem.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so for that, billionaires probably should not exist, but it's not an individual to give up their money. It's for us to have policies in place where a CEO at the top of the company can maybe only make a certain percentage or certain multiples more than the average salary of the person. If you go back to the 60s where they talk about make America great and other things, you didn't have this big gap where the CEO, where the C-suite people were up here getting paid in ways where they get to avoid tax liability and do all of these other things, which then further harm the lower class, which continues to separate.
They weren't making 500 times the salary of
the average times the salary, and then paid through stock options where I'm taking loans on the stock options, so I'm not even getting income. Mark Zuckerberg is getting $1, he's getting a check 2 cents every month. I mean, 2 cents every 2 weeks. And ridiculousness like that. I'm not getting Jeff Bezos in 2016 getting a tax income credit when he's already a multiple billionaire at this point in time. So this is the craziness that we have to avoid. There's policies that are in place which create the problem. Now, I'm gonna say, as far as Jay-Z and these black billionaires, when people go with them and they get a greater income, they get a greater problem. There's a thing that they say in college campuses, predominantly at predominantly white institutions, where the black employees, the black professors, counselors, and things that are on those campuses, they take on an extra workload because they are actually parenting and being more of a resource for the black students that are in this predominantly white space, because they see them and they have to take on this workload. It's very similar for black billionaires. We bang on Oprah, we bang on
Jay.
we bang on Jay. We don't bang too much on Robert Smith. Robert Smith is one of the richest black billionaires. And shout out to him. He just did an HBCU fest in Atlanta this week. So
we bang on entertainers.
we
bang on black entertainers.
Yeah,
Did we bang on Robert Johnson? Did we bang on Robert Johnson? Would you say yes to that?
We banged on him about BET, but not really because he's a billionaire, not because of the riches.
Yeah.
But so I just say all that to say, let's recognize what the problem is. I'm not going at we need to avoid the individual billionaire problem, and we need to talk about the policies and systems in place which create these conditions. And that's where the real problem is. And that for that, yeah, we need to reduce this income inequality. And if it results in no billionaires, that's fine. If it results in only a couple of people, a couple of super talented, super great people become billionaires, that's fine too. But the income inequality is where is the issue that we got.
And the last thing I'll say on that, just so we can move, building on that, when you're talking about the systems, we have to question the greed that creates the price tag to even sustain the desire to then become a billionaire. Like, you just sit where it's like, okay, you think about everything that we pay for. Just like, yo, should oil be costing as much? And I mean, I ain't going down the war road, but you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, if the value system perpetuates this income inequality, and we're creating a value system that, oh, this house is X million of dollars and this, that, the other. Why? And so, but and I agree, we should not go at Jay like that is his problem. And I will ask y'all this, because he also said, and I maybe forgive me if I'm not saying it correctly, what kind of he got where he is without exploiting anyone. What are your thoughts about that? And if you need to add some clarity to what I'm saying, please do.
Well, Bomani Jones thought that was ridiculous because he said you talked about you sold crack to your mother. So if you want to talk about him being a drug dealer and selling crack to his family member, which sounds horrible on wax, but in real life and reality was done in every neighborhood that sold crack in America across the country.
Whether it's your mother or the neighborhood, isn't that? I mean, I'm calling cap on I ain't exploit nobody. We all exploit. We all exploit.
Well, I think that's not how the question is meant. I think the question is meant.
No, I think the answer. You don't think that's how the answer was meant.
Well, no, but I'm saying I think that the question implies that I'm a billionaire by using exploitation to get to me being a billionaire. And I don't think a person like Jay, when you ask him about J. Cole, this is why I found the interview, because I was looking at the subtext of everything he said and how it connected to him as a human being. Like, are you mad at J. Cole? And he's like, no. He's like, this artist and stuff. He's like, but I look at it as opportunity to, show I'm playing the game clean. Now, maybe that could be PR. Maybe that could be, I know the questions come in. But what I'm saying is that there seemed to be a thread of him operating that way throughout the entire interview, no matter what the subject was. So I would say that I don't think he exploited any artists that he came up with in Rockefeller. You show me the artist that was making tons of money and he didn't pay them correctly. First of all, they don't exist on Rockefeller.
I think that we are not understanding what the definition of the word exploit means, right? Seriously, and
Can we take it in a
no, we can't, and I think his answer, and the question.
So explain it, define
because-
exploit rather than not how you
Make-
not how
no,
this
hold on,
not
wait,
how society's going to take it.
I'm gonna tell you to make full use and derive the benefit from a resource, right? So, and Jay's answer, you hold your head. All right, you know what? Now,
Because that
nah, hold on. No, let me finish. So, right, so if we take that, that's what he did. When he says, I take the world for what it is, not how I want it to be, he's recognizing that this is the system and I play the game through the system. If y'all making full use of the resources, that's fine. I was also talking about billionaires and the issue and how we get there. They're making full use of the resource. They're not necessarily exploiting people. They're just making full use of the system that exists for them. To say that then systemically, that because things are set up in certain ways, is not exploitation. The reason he answered it that way is because if you go on social media, everybody's always talking about Jay-Z did this person dirty, he did that person dirty, Nicki Minaj is talking about this. So his question to me was in response to all the talk in social media that talks about him exploiting people.
so
I
that,
don't-
that's my point, Kevin.
I don't, but
Like, can we have the discussion where the people are and
so
how
he's
they
not
feel
doing,
about him?
So what you're saying, he didn't do anything that's different than other people in his position.
No, what I'm saying,
1000% agree.
what I'm saying is that when people
But
say
the system is
exploit,
designed to exploit.
when people say exploit, they are saying, are you grimy? Are you dirty? Did you do to people dirty to get to you being a billionaire? Were you out there treating people wrong, not paying your artists, stepping on people's necks to get where you got? That's what they're saying, Kevin. Now, granted, I respect the true definition. I'm just saying that that's a little disingenuous to what the argument is. And in the argument, I think that if you got a career like Jay-Z, you are going to have some missteps. It's impossible for any person to do as much as he's done to not have missteps. And you could not like how he deal with the Colin Kaepernick thing and, them trying to undermine Colin Kaepernick and whatever. But in terms of exploit, in terms of I'm trying to take from you, I'm trying to destroy you.
See, now you adding way extra stuff to it.
I'm talking about I'm
The
speaking to
Colin
where people are.
Kaepernick is an example of exploitation. The Colin Kaepernick, the opportunity came to him because of the Colin Kaepernick situation. And then what he did in any way, if he did something that undermined Colin Kaepernick and trying to get back because he didn't do it in the way that
He
the NFL
exploited
wanted.
Colin Kaepernick.
See what I'm saying?
No,
You
because
mix. I didn't say he exploited Colin Kaepernick. I said he got the situation because it was the exploitation. He made full use of the situation that existed, and he swooped in, and he was able to do that. I'm not mad at him. I'm not saying he did wrong, but I'm saying that is an example of
well,
exploitation.
people are talking. I'm online, and people are talking about him in the sense of he did wrong. So I want to have the discussion about, well, what did he do wrong?
That was wrong. Eventually not taking it. Eventually, what he did and undermining Colin Kaepernick was wrong. Understandable, but it was wrong. But you know what? You don't got to be 100%. I mean,
I personally don't like the Colin Kaepernick situation. However, I will say on the backside, I think having Bad Bunny, I think having Kendrick Lamar, I think having Dre, Mary, 50, Eminem, and
like I said, you don't got to bat 1,000. But I'm just saying, like it is what it is. There's big steps.
I think it's easy to say that somebody as a billionaire exploited people. It allows us, it allows the normal
Each
person.
one of us, each one of us goes back to our life and we look at things and we're like, yo, I kind of did that person wrong. I exploited this for my thing. So
I
it's
think
it's not a billionaire situation. It's just an introspective
I
thing of
I'm
life.
the point I'm making is I think it's easy for the average person to look at Jay-Z and all his success and to undermine it by saying he exploited people, he did people dirty, because that lets them off the hook for where they are in life. Well, he's that way because he was willing to do this, and I'm not willing to do that. And it gives those type of people a path of, well, I'm just not that dude. I'm not like that. I wouldn't do that to Colin Kaepernick.
I don't know about all that. I mean,
I know that's
because we've all done things that we regret and like I took more advantage of the situation.
or maybe
I used up a resource more than I should have.
or maybe the Colin Kaepernick situation, it was just the ugly one, and in the long run, this was going to be the best outcome that was going to come from it. The best possible outcome that would have come from it was what we got now. It may not have tasted well, but Colin wasn't going to come back. The NFL wasn't going to accept him back. You know,
I understand that, but there's a I mean, you know, as a man, for me, it's just the role that I play. You know, now people people do what they want, and don't get this wrong. I'm a fan of Jay-Z. I don't think that he exploits people beyond what's the norm for that business. Like somebody came at him immediately after that. They said there was an intern at Rock Nation, and they talked about how they use interns to do the business and everything. And I'm like, yo, you stupid. That's the entertainment industry. Like that's how the business gets down. So I mean, but again, I think social media is wrong about it. I think that what he's done is, you know, make full use, as he says, of the situation that exists. And I don't think that there's necessarily a crime or anything wrong in that. If you are angry about what he's doing, it's the systems and policies that create the conditions for him to be able to do that.
I think he outmaneuvered Dame Dash, and that's business. But people on the street who don't conduct business, who aren't involved in business, will say, "Oh, he exploited him. That was grimy. How come? Why don't you help out your friend?" All of these things, and I think it's just important for us to sometimes be like, you know what? I haven't walked in that situation. I really don't have enough info to really speak on this that way, to speak in such absolute
I'll
terms.
say this, and it is very easy to profess your morality and your movements when you're broke. Because it's real easy. It's real easy, man. I would do this and I would do that. And let's come off the billion.
Yeah.
Man, once I make six figures, you know, I'm gonna support my community. I'm gonna, you know, God, if you give me this, I'm gonna faithful time. Like all of those things that you say when you at 25K,
Yeah.
and then years go by and you look back, you know. So
it's difficult. You're right. You know, here's the one thing I will say about Jay. I happen to know somebody who was with him early on, who did some work, helped put him in this position to become the billionaire that he is, right? But that person kind of did it and then left and went on doing their own thing. Jay jokingly ran into him, and when the success started to bubble, and was like, "Yo, I know you mad," and kind of laughed at him, you know. But then later on, blessed him with some money, like, you know, a thank you, even though he didn't have to, you know, because the person was already paid for the services that they did. But Jay gave him some, you know, multiples more extra on it, like here's the blessing. So, you know, I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I think it's ridiculous that he's a bad guy. We know he does a lot of stuff behind the scenes to help people, and as a number of people do. And I think the shots that he takes are unwarranted.
So
in many
I'll
times.
say this so that
Yeah.
we can move. I do believe, and I'm gonna say us as a community. It could be something that is more larger than us, but we're three black men. I'm speaking about us. I feel like times we blur the lines when it comes to, and this is a great segue into the next topic of the relationships and what they really mean and what they really consist of. And I'm saying that knowing someone very close in that camp where a business relationship is a business relationship, a family friendship is something different. If you operate in both of those spaces, you still need to understand that you're operating in two spaces. They should never become one space, because when they
Mhm.
become one space, some of the feeling of being exploited is really around your friend hurt as an expectation on the business side. And that's not to absolve anybody of the capacity to do somebody wrong, because you can, but I do think that blurring creates the stage for like, yo, you supposed to hold me down forever. Da, 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 da. Mm, the contract's
Yeah.
over, right? You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so the
And the one
tour's
thing,
over, right? You know,
yeah, the one thing I also say that we should also remember is that being a billionaire now in Jay-Z's time is a lot different than being a billionaire 20 years ago. It's a lot easier to be a billionaire. It's a lot, the money to get to $1 billion comes easier than it was in the 90s, which is why there's so many billionaires now in comparison to the billionaires we had 30 years ago.
did we have any?
Yeah, we had Robert Johnson was probably the only billionaire that we had. But what I'm just saying is that in that long money, if you were to do a comparison, like Jay-Z probably has like 500 million if you were to compare it to those times. I think it's very easy to get to $1 billion now. Not easy, but much easier than it used to be. Let me
Can,
not.
can I just add on, to say that, to my son who went to a private school, and we're talking 100, maybe 130, 140 people, and there were in his class, not the entire school, I'm just talking about his graduating class, and there were probably 4 billionaires in his class.
Yes.
See, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But to your point,
Thank you for making a point, Kev.
Yeah, and to your point, you're right, because if for nothing else, the way, in a lot of ways, the way Jay made his money, because he talked about his talent and having the confidence in his talent, which is great. The dollar value, that's what's paid out for the utilization of that talent now, is light years different than what it was in the 90s. You just think of, we all are sports fans.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness, what baseball players are making now,
Yeah.
compared to, you think about, you talked about, this is the 50th anniversary of Songs in the Key of Life, and Stevie Wonder having 3 albums of the year, Grammys in a 4-year period. If that happened today, he may almost be a billion.
Yeah.
We
We will see.
He owned the label.
We will
You know what I'm
probably
saying?
see. We will probably see sports figures and athletes make $1 billion worth of contract in their lifetime.
Yeah.
On a regular basis.
If they have extended careers, like yeah.
Like if
we just tripping
you
off
have,
of the Alex Rodriguez when it's like what, 10 years or 250, like so.
Like if you have a super max and you making
Yeah,
250,
two super maxes will get you just about there.
Yeah, exactly.
Two super maxes and your sneaker contract will get you there.
Yeah.
But as we move on, speaking of exploitation or working together in community, we're going to talk about a situation. There was an article in Howard that we saw, and I totally forgot to show it for the Jay-Z thing. Yeah. The Howard treatment. Does excellence cost us a connection? And it just discusses a rift that they're having at Howard University, which is not it's not separate to Howard. It's also happening at other universities, where young people feeling some sort of anxiety around acknowledging each other. So it basically tells a story how I can't remember if it was a man or a woman. They had a study group, let's say in the fall semester. Their friends are all working together, going through the ups and downs of the study group. Now it's the next semester. They're walking across the campus. They see one of the people from the study group, and they kind of half wave, and the person looks someplace else or doesn't look at them and ignores them, and they don't know if the person is mad at them, if they were just they were just being exploited the first semester, and now and it is and apparently this is a thing amongst these Gen Z people where the anxiety of acknowledging each other or the anxiety of possibly being ignored puts them in a precarious situation where they don't know how to respond to it. And I'm amazed.
Having spent time in every dorm on campus, as we all did, and the connections that we had, being in class with somebody and then being cool with them forever, all of those type of things, I can't see how you could do something with somebody all semester and then the next semester be like, should I speak to this person? Like I'm having a hard time. I'm like, are they all in their dorm rooms? Are they not hanging out in their dorms, building, like tangible, long-lasting relationships? Or is it just they treat dorm connections differently than they treat classroom connections? I just don't understand this. It also speaks to me the fragility and the fear and the hurt that generation is carrying around, and the fear of rejection, that it has to be so big in them that it prevents them from venturing out. Because they wouldn't have did, Kevin, you saw a group of us walking by your dorm and hopped in our group, and now we are friends for life because you had the
guts
and to be like, hey, I just got here. I don't know anybody here. I'm in this athlete's dorm. There goes 10 guys from another, a dorm. I'm gonna go over there and hang out. We wasn't like, who you? We wasn't like, who this? It's like, what's up?
Even though he did pull me aside and ask about my man, though. Early on, he did question my man, though.
Yeah,
maybe we can call him something else. I tried to colonize him. Let's change his name.
Change his name.
He's like, that's your man for like, that's his name for real. Like, yeah, that like, yo, that's like, oh, okay. I just was checking. It's like, yo, me and my man was 4 years in already. I was like, he was 4 days, but it's all good.
Yeah,
I made the right choice. See, that's coded language. If you know, you know. It ain't for me to explain. But
I understand why Kevin felt like that, because it's not like ski. The word ski in terms of hip hop culture had an age. That's like pulling up in a. That was like pulling up.
How you put my man on blast, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo,
Tim did all that quiet talk. They're not exploitation. I'm like, he meant ski.
Exactly.
It's like, let me throw this Molotov cocktail.
Exactly. Yo,
but that's important though, because in '86, that was like 83 language. So I understand the response to it, But what say you about these youngsters, Tim? I really, you teach the youth.
You there?
You there? You with them? You on the very campus Tuesday and Thursdays.
That it happens.
Dropping knowledge.
It's listening to what you say and reading the article. I found it really interesting And there's just a couple of things. Like yesterday, I did a presentation called Life Between the Headphones. Because honestly, when you are on campus now, 90% of the young people literally look like all three of us if you're watching us live. Everybody has on headphones. So you're together and already separated. Aaron, the point that you brought up, looking at the article started off with a relationship that was built around a study group. We as Lu Phi, we was dorm first, then started venturing into classes. I'm sitting here, I was thinking like, yo, is there anybody that I really was rocking with forever that started in class? But this phenomenon of the not speaking, I agree, it's really new to me. I will say within my class, because my class is small and I really push family, because as I was reading the article, I was like, man, I'm actually operating against this, not realizing the magnitude that it really is a thing.
Yeah.
And I will say part of it, I think it may be a little different because I teach out of the College of Fine Arts. We're a smaller college, and the level of relationships and interaction,
Connectivity. Yeah.
you can't make it operating like that, because at some point I might need you to play for me. At some point we're going to be working on a stage.
Connectivity of
the connectivity, you just
artistic connectivity.
Exactly. It's going to be there. But I've heard my students talk about it in the sense of, that person was speaking, or we're not cool. I don't know what happens in dorm life anymore. Like I'm being 100% honest. The dorms are spread out all over the place. But it is really disheartening, because for that phenomenon to be true, and the article said it happens in other campuses as well, so it's not unique to Howard, they are missing out on what I personally feel is probably one of the best things that you get from a college experience. Because I could say I am successful in my friendship life because of things that took place in college. It's impacted the positive, what I've been able to do business wise. From a positive standpoint, we fully exploited having 2 weeks of orientation before class started.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think we came with a certain level of dependency to create community, whereas I think for these young people it's different, but it really is problematic, because it's not all of a sudden once you get out of college creating relationships become easier. It's more difficult.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's more difficult. We wouldn't be Lu Phi if we met at 28.
Yeah.
Versus meeting at 18. Like
we'd have one or two friends, but we wouldn't be
like those 10.
We branched off into different things.
Yeah, those 10 years of transitioning from adolescent to young adulthood, that's the glue. We've learned to add layers and things as we've gone on, but if you remove that glue and we just all met on the job, we're not who we are today.
And social growth is 50% of the value of college. It just is
easy.
Easy.
I look at the situation like in college.
Some of us academically, it was 70%.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I look at college and I'm like, it's all about the relationships, the relationships that you create, that you develop and exist. That is the glue behind anybody's success. It's always about relationships. You look at people, you look at wealthy people and rich people. It's always about making those connections and the people that you know. I go back to our time, whether I was cool with you or not. If you was in a crew that was cool with somebody else in my crew, then we was crew. Like I giving pounds to so many people that I rock with or didn't rock with.
Yeah.
I was when I read the article, I was thinking, I didn't know Anthony Anderson. I just remember the face on campus. And one time we was walking past each other. It's like, we seen each other, yo, what's up? Gave each other a pound. Not because we friends, just because
That happens. There's so many times. You're
yeah,
right.
like you know what I'm saying? The Venn diagram circle. And if you're not doing that at a Howard University, where you're in a safe space to love each other, the HBCU community to support and create these wonderful relationships. And when you go out and conquer, you have something, a home base to go back to get this support. If you're not doing that, you are actually destroying what we built. You were destroying what had been built for years.
Facts.
And if
That's a really great point.
this is a problem, I'm gonna go back to policies, procedures, and systems. You need to develop something to get back to this. We talk about culture. You've got to create the culture, and you have to be intentional about the culture that you want. And to me, if I'm an administrator on this campus and I see this as a problem, I'm like, yo, this could really become something big that could really take away from what we are.
Yeah,
we're supposed to be love.
As the adults, we got to do that, and we got to model that. And,
well, let me ask you, what does this say about the fear that these kids are walking around? Because that's the thing that sticks out to me, is the awkward social connection.
But they've been messed up.
That fear is a fragility.
Yeah.
That fear is a fragility of rejection being so internalized. What's wrong with me? And so therefore you play it safe by just existing in isolation. I don't know if COVID impacted this. I don't know if social media impacted this, but that is it. It's a fear. It's a fear of rejection, and then the fear that you won't be able to just use a J, brush it off your shoulder and just keep it moving. And then it becomes anxiety. So it's like, because when I'm reading that article, it's like, okay, I'm feeling anxiety as you're coming across from Douglas. Should I speak to you? Should I not speak to you? And then by the time I get up the nerve, you pass me by. But then you were thinking the same thing, and then what really wasn't in the article is, you and I have that cross. We both feeling some kind of way, and we'll say something to somebody else.
Yeah.
And then when I run past you, you're gonna feel my energy change, and you're like, yo, like, then an opportunity presents itself.
Yeah.
Where's that from? And then I'm telling you, like, yo, remember spring 26? You're like, dog, it's fall 28. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about here?
I couldn't imagine not saying something to somebody in the posse from Osage.
You know how many people I said hello to that I never had conversation with, but just because I saw them every day?
Yeah. Like, like as Kev, you were speaking, I feel like, yo, like, you come to Howard, you're part of a 4 or 5 year cookout, and you not moving table to table. Like, how do you come back to homecoming?
Like I just go back to Amiri Baraka when we were like, when he came, he was on campus. I go freshman to sophomore, and he was like, pay attention to all these people. They're going to be leaders in industries. They're going to be this. And he's like, I know you think I'm crazy, but this is what they're going to be. And these are going to be your friends. This is going to be your group. And, obviously he was right. And that's the beauty of Howard. That was his experience at Howard. And he was sharing,
letting us know.
He was letting us know, like, yo, this is what y'all need to do. And what happened to
those headphones are for real, Tim, on campus?
Oh, yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
But
yes.
I
more than half the people type of thing, or like 30, 40%?
Oh, yes. No. Like 70.
I mean, when you go to college,
so people don't stop and just talk. There aren't a bunch of people out there just talking on campus. Or the first warm day, they come out on
now Thursday was almost 80. Like, the yard exploded. And one of the things that they do that we didn't do, they come out with blankets on the yard.
Sit on the yard.
Like, literally, so you saw like little spots where it's like 3 or 4 people on this blanket, 3 or 4 on this people on that blanket. It'd have been too difficult for us to like walk around and navigate. Like, cause then
but even that is cutting things off a little bit.
Yes.
Because when we was out there, we was
You just walk. You just we just circled.
Yes.
And then you circle up, and
We just circled up. You met in Blackburn. You slid over
Yeah,
here.
you went downstairs. You came upstairs.
Yes. So everything is like just me and my tight, and so, but people interact. So I do see that, and it's funny because, like, I will say there are people who say hello to me, student wise, that I don't fully know or remember, and just like, hey, professor, because of like to what Kev said, it'll be somebody saying like, yo, that's my professor, that's the one I was telling you about, and other things. So I personally think what you give out comes back.
Yes.
So how you were saying, you just say hello to people that you don't even know. Like that was one of the things that for me, like, okay, I grew up in East New York, Brooklyn. Don't speak to strangers. Like you just don't.
Yeah.
I remember coming to DC feeling uncomfortable by the hospitality.
Yeah.
Not just on campus, off campus.
Yeah. I thought with Chuck saying hello to everybody was really weird.
I thought it was going to be a problem. I thought it was put me in a situation.
If anything, it was like, yo, like this, we might have to get him out the crew because for me, I mean, we all came up.
And I'm from Long Island, and I felt the same way you did.
Eye contact could set it off.
Yeah.
Like, yo, why you looking at me? You got a problem? No, I'm sorry, my pupils just went this way. So I remember early on in DC feeling uncomfortable when people would just like say hello. Like, Kev, you and I going down to the HUD building. Like, people spoke. We didn't know these people.
Yeah.
And they would sincerely, like, it wasn't just a proverbial head nod. Like, hey, how you doing? And then forget it. If it's older Black women, they speak to you like you're theirs.
I remember I was in DC. There was this dude. I guess he was like a big one of the drug dealers, and I would see him all over the place. I see him in Virginia. I see him in Maryland. I see him all the time, like on weekends and different things. So one time I'm in
Not
Georgia.
That he was doing drugs.
Yeah, I wasn't
dealing
doing
with
drugs.
him. He just.
I just see him, big chain and all this. So one day we walking in Georgetown or Wisconsin, and I see him. And I'm with my wife, girlfriend at the time, and it's like, yo, what's up? We give each other a pound. She's like, you know him? It's like, nah, but he see me, I'm gonna take the pound.
but to the point, the problem is, I feel like
that's the thing that concerns me.
Yeah,
the emotional stuff underneath.
Because then it becomes, if you find yourself in a networking session. Because this is one of the things Dr. Harvey drilled. Your net worth is your network is your net worth.
Yeah.
Period. Like who you know will get you in so many doors. Now, once you get in, what you do will keep you in there. But we've all been the benefactor of like, oh, you looking for somebody to do this out of school thing? Yo, Aaron is good. That's my man. Okay, bet. Yeah. Then once you get there, you got to represent because this is that. So
this is what it is. Yeah.
My fear is that they're going to leave the bubble of Howard and go into a real world that is ruthless.
Yeah.
And not be crewed up. Like I cannot imagine navigating this world not crewed up.
And also how they think about the world.
Crewed up, real crewed up.
You know,
and how they talk about and what they think about the world and what they think about their place in the world.
Yeah, like real quick, I watched a show called The Pit on HBO Max, and last week's episode they had a medical student, a fourth-year medical student, who her shift is over, but the hospital is swamped, and the chief resident is like, "Yo, where you going?" Like, you know, she was like, you guys need better work-life balance and leave.
Stop.
Like, you know,
she said you all need barriers.
Yes.
Yeah, like her word was barriers.
Yes.
I watched it last night.
Yeah. You know, and
these kids are different.
It's like she's right, but she's wrong. She's right. Everybody is overworked and it's harmful. But you being like, yo, I'm out.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
you want to be a resident, you can't be doing that.
Hopefully, the adults in place develop some things to help kind of support them and get them.
Yeah.
But now as we come to the end, it's time for the Robinson Report. those things that are giving you life or making you mad. And I'm gonna just let you know right now, I'm real mad. So I don't know. Y'all could
I'm
decide
gonna
who
go
goes.
quick, real quick, because mine is something a little different. I'm trying to expand my musical taste and get back into listening to music. So mine is 6WA, Big X the Plug, and Rosama and his crew. They got a new album out. It opens with the DOC, which is kind of dope because you got 6WA, NWA. He's from Dallas, you know, they're from Texas, you know. So you got that like kind of dope opening or whatever.
Yo,
Snoop is
send the
on
link. I
there.
need to check that out.
Yeah. So you know, I'm not finished the album, but I'm excited about listening to it. From what I've heard on there, they got some joint that dude Rosama could spit. So that's my Robinson report. Check out 6WA by Big X the Plug and his crew.
Mine's is a little different, so I'm gonna go before Reggie Jacks come with the axe and start hacking. You know, for me, it's a combination. It's my students. We actually were doing a project where we studied the message that came out in '82, and they had to research and identify 3 songs that thematically they could connect that preceded the message, and then they had to create their own version of the message 2026 and identify 3 songs that thematically connected to that. And when they first was putting it together, like the majority of the class, the projects just wasn't reaching what I felt their standards should be. So we really had a moment on last Tuesday. Like I went at their necks. My Isaiah was like, "Yo, Pop, like be easy on them." Like so, I went at the whole class, and then one by one they was asking me to step outside the class and having those moments. So as you was talking about that emotional fragility, had one student who had to excuse themselves and call their family to get their mind right to come back. I was like, we couldn't do that because we ain't had no phones. But you know, it is what it is. But on Thursday, what came out of it was some amazing pieces, and so that was really giving me life. And then
So
also,
you challenged them and they responded to the
I
challenge.
challenged them and they responded to the challenge in a real meaningful way. And some students really stepped out of their comfort zones and started singing when we never heard them sing before. And some went and as opposed to just reading the piece, they went and recorded. So we got like MP3s. So it really leveled up. So I really was glad the way that they responded. And I'm going to take this moment because I'm really trying to embrace how excited and happy I am. I found out yesterday that I am receiving the Adjunct Lecturer Excellence in Teaching Award. I'm one of the recipients.
Nice.
I was telling Vanessa, I am not going to like low play this. Like sometimes as men, we'd be like, oh, I'm like, nope, I want to feel all the things.
all the
And
happiness.
so I know
Yes.
that it was a full-time faculty that made the nomination, but I also know that she had to get letters and words from students to present the entire package. So to feel that, that's definitely given me life. On Monday, there's a reception,
man.
and Vanessa and Dr. Harvey will be there with me. So yeah, so that's my report.
Congratulations.
Congrats,
Yeah,
man. Well earned.
that's fantastic. All right. While y'all are happy, and I
Burn it
applaud
down,
y'all.
Kev. Burn
I
it all
applaud your
down.
happiness.
Bird, Hollywood Bird. Ain't nobody sample that.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm mad. Just in case you guys didn't know, the police, the government, they are not constitutionally obligated to protect you. That's right. That's what I said. They argued, the New York City Police Department argued in a case just recently, this week. A woman was attacked. A woman was with some, there was a Palestinian protest in a Jewish area in Brooklyn. The people that were dressed as Orthodox Jews, I'm not saying they were not, but people that were dressed in the Orthodox traditional garb, came at her, beating her, threatened her. Cops were there. Cops ain't do anything. Then eventually somebody shows up and tries to escort her through. And then she sued the city. The city said, "Oh no, the cops don't have to protect you." News to me. I thought, oh, this is crazy. Now some of y'all are probably thinking, oh yeah, that's just what they do in Afghanistan because y'all elected a Muslim mayor, a Muslim socialist mayor. So that's the reason. Oh no. This started in 1989. There was a case where, and this is affirmed by the Supreme Court, 89 Supreme Court case. A man abused his child. They knew that he was being abused. Social services took care of it. Social services witnessed the abuse. The man wasn't living up to the decree that he said. Eventually beat the boy so bad that he suffered severe brain damage, had to be cared for the rest of his life. And when the mother sued, they said, oh, we don't have to protect you from private violence. So you're like, okay, that's crazy. 2005, town of Castle Rock versus Gonzalez. Police failed. The woman had order protection against her father. Father kidnaps her kids, 3 daughters, kidnaps the kids. She goes to the police 5 different times, calls over 8 hours. Hey, they took the kids. Cops refused to do anything. The man shows up at the police department. So the cops don't even go looking. The man shows up at the police department with the kids. He has killed the 3 kids. 3 kids are dead in the car. The cops then shoot the guy dead. She sues. The cops don't have to protect you from private citizens. The cops or the federal government does not have to protect you from private citizens. If the government has control of you, then they have to protect you. But from private citizens, no. So when I hear people say that when they talked about defund the police was a problem, tell me, what are the police for? Tell me, they gonna protect me? They don't have to do it. Constitutionally protected. This is wild. I ain't even noticed. Now I'm mad. I'm gonna stay mad.
Yeah.
Wow.
Reggie Jacks.
Reggie Jacks with the facts.
Way to close the show. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yo.
All right. So we gotta go. We gotta run.
Yeah.
But that sounds nice.
That is a way to end the show.
So, in the words of Wu, based upon what you just heard, protect your neck.
Protect your neck. Yourself.
Yeah, that's what I said. Protect your neck.
Yeah.
Don't wait for the police.
Exactly.
Man. Craziness. All right,
next
y'all.
Time, y'all. Peace.
My mic sounds nice. This is Kev. Peace.
My mic sounds nice. This is A. Another one in the bun. Peace.
Peace. And we speak to each other when we see each other.